Over the course of the next 4 weeks, I'm going to be leading us on a journey of facing change in a new way. Rather than buckling our seatbelts, holding our breath, and waiting for the roller coaster ride, I thought we might like to do it a little differently. Because isn't that kind of when people talk about change, isn't that kind of our automatic response? It's like, we kind of suck in a breath and go, oh, what's going to happen? I'll be using the Unity book called Finding Yourself in Transition by Robert Brummett. And in this book, self is capitalized because it's not another book about finding out what kind of personality you have and what your personality traits are. And if you just change these personality traits, then you'll be happy. This is about really discovering our true nature, who we truly are as expressions of the divine. And how do we express that? And so this book uses the story of Moses. And Moses going to Egypt and talking to Pharaoh and that whole journey of the Exodus story of Moses leading the people out of Egypt. So every New Year's Eve, thousands, maybe billions of people around the world set resolutions. Maybe you even set one yesterday thinking, this year, this is the year I'm going to do it. And sometimes we succeed. Statistics show that more often, within a few weeks, a few months at the most, we revert back to our previous way of doing whatever it was that we were doing. So we resolve that we're going to give up sugar. And we do. For 6 hours. And then we see that holiday candy. And we just got to have one more piece. That kind of resolution really leads us into feeling worse about ourselves. I mean, because then don't we actually feel worse about ourselves afterwards? Yeah. So what if we did it in a different way? I believe that there is another way, and I believe that it is what Unity teaches. Because what Unity teaches is about transformation, not translation. Translation is where we have an experience and we vow we're going to change something, and we do for a period of time. Transformation is where we transform. And that energy is transformed within us so that it becomes a new energy and we become a new creation. That's really what part of today is about. In the story of Moses, Moses is tending his father-in-law's sheep. Now he has fled from Egypt because if he stays in Egypt, Pharaoh's going to kill him. So he flees from Egypt and he goes and he gets married and he's, just happily tending the sheep for his father-in-law. And he sees a burning bush that is not consumed. So it's kind of like a bush that's like a candle. So it doesn't go out. Well, that's kind of intriguing. So he gets a little closer. The bush talks to him. Now, what would you do if a bush talked to you? Okay, so this probably isn't exactly what happened. So if we look at it from a metaphysical standpoint, rather than waiting for bushes to talk to us. We can look at that fire that won't be consumed as that desire that is within us. We have a desire that is within us that we want to express. And that spirit within us calls our name and says, it's time. This is the time. Moses had a desire within him to free the Israelites from bondage and slavery. But of course, that next thing that happens is, oh, I can't do that. Me? No, sorry, got the wrong guy or gal, you just got the wrong person. And when God doesn't take that for an answer, he says, no, really? You want me to go to Pharaoh and you want me to talk to Pharaoh? Hello, I stutter. Nobody's gonna sit around and wait long enough for me to get a sentence out. God says, I got your back. Your brother will talk for you. You just tell him what to say. And he'll say the words for you. So God shows up for us. God makes a commitment to us when we make that commitment to God, to that God self that is within us. And so the question that arises is, what is it that we need to release in order to make room for that desire to be revealed and for that desire to come forth? What is it that we need to release? And so I'm going to lead us in a meditation, and I'm going to invite us during the silence, whenever you feel ready, you can write on your piece of paper what it is that you're ready to release. And when you are ready to release it, you can come up and let it go. Let it fully go. So let's just take a moment and close our eyes. We may want to just take a moment to focus on our breath and focus on our bodies. There's a place that we're holding tension. We may want to breathe into that spot and let go. As the question arises, what belief about myself have I been holding that I am ready to let go? What belief about myself am I holding that I'm ready to let go? What thoughts of limitation has that belief brought to my mind? what thoughts of separation from myself, from God, and from others has that belief brought into my mind? And so we just take a time in the silence and we listen. Without judging, we write what we hear, that spirit within us say to us.
So having released.
Having released that which is no longer in our best interest, both known and unknown, we have prepared a space within our consciousness to receive. So back to Moses. When he tells God he cannot, God doesn't give him a pep talk about how he can. God says, but I will be with you. And this shall be a sign for you that I have sent you when you have brought forth the people out of Egypt. You shall serve God upon this mountain. God makes a commitment to Moses. Have you ever thought about God making a commitment to you? That, we often talk about, making a commitment to God, to serving God, to expressing our highest divine nature. But have we thought about really standing in that power of knowing that God has made a commitment to us personally, not just globally, but personally? So often, we do hear about spiritual teachers that, talk about that, making a commitment to God. But really, it's a two-way street. It's about a relationship. And if you were in a relationship where all you did was do the giving, how long would you stay in that relationship? So we said years. Amen. Okay, but there comes a point where you realize that that really to be in relationship means that both people are making a commitment to each other. And so the divine has actually made a commitment to us. And so whatever it is that desire that wells up within us, that burning bush that is within us that wants to be expressed, the divine has made a commitment to us to fulfill that. So as we write this letter to God, I invite us to write a letter that has both, that it expresses our commitment of what we're willing, of that burning desire that we want to bring forth, but also gratitude for the commitment that God is making to us, that God will be with us through this. That no matter what it looks like, no matter how it feels, and those moments where we do feel like we're on a roller coaster or we feel afraid, we can know that God is always with us. And there's a commitment that God has made to see the fulfillment of that desire, because you could not have the desire if it was not of God. And you couldn't have the desire, it couldn't be in your mind if it wasn't already fulfilled in the spirit. It's just us being willing to do our part and allowing God to do God's part. So there's some real clarity here. God doesn't do our job, and we don't need to do God's job. So there's some real clarity there. So as you write this letter to God, I just really invite you to do it from a relationship standpoint. Do it from a standpoint of what you're willing to make your commitment to do. But also, what is that burning desire in you that wants to come forth? And how do you see God committing to being present with you during that process. And I invite you also to make sure that you address the envelope to yourself. And then when we do the love offering, I'll have you turn it in during the love offering. So let's just take a moment and center ourselves. We're going to recenter ourselves because this is a new energy. So we just breathe into this space, just reconnecting with that holy, sacred place within us. Connecting with that desire that wants to come forth. We have opened a door, we have freed up space for this desire to come into fulfillment. And so from our hearts, we write this letter. We write this letter, both a letter of affirming the desire fulfilled, and also of gratitude for the way that God is showing up and bringing about the fulfillment of the desire. So we just remain in this sacred place as we write this letter. What comes to mind for me as we bring our time to a close is the 12th step in the 12-step programs. Having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we tried to carry this message to others and to practice these principles in all our affairs. So this is our part. We practice these principles. We practice the principles that will bring this desire into fulfillment. We practice as if we have already received what it is that we are asking for. God would not have revealed to you something that was not already here. Jesus tells his disciples, I came that they might have life and have it abundantly. He also dedicates his life to demonstrating what an abundant life looks like and how to achieve it. What is possible for one is possible for all. May this coming year be one of bountiful blessings for you and all sentient beings.